Merry Christmas, Max. Not really, but almost there.
Yeah. We're like, 2 weeks off? A week off?
Yeah. I have my Christmas lights on. No.
Yeah.
It feels like I just talked to you this morning.
Yeah, it's almost like we just talked for, 3 hours? But yeah.
At least you had a change of wardrobe. I'm still in my hamburger shirt. JB
yeah. I was kind of like, probably, I was going to change to my hoodie anyway because it's cold, but I was like, yeah, I'm change hoodie so they don't know it's the same day. But yeah, it's the same day.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's get on with it. We got a lot more RC to talk about. Let's drop that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 264 of the No Name RC podcast, and I'm your host, Keno White, aka Lefty the Great. And over to my left is Santa's little helper, Max Morton. How you doing, Maxie?
Everyone, everything.
Yeah, this is our.
I was reading. I was reading the professor of everything.
Mm-hmm. This is our second session of recording here for the day, because this is a podcast that we had to break up into two sections. Yeah. And yeah, we're here to record because we still have some races to talk about, some RC news to talk about that we couldn't get done in our first 3 hours. And we have some questions to answer today. So without further ado, let's just get right into it and say thank you to everybody that supports us. First off, thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Without you guys, none of this is possible. Thank you for all the support over the last 5 years. It has been greatly appreciated, and we look forward to continue for years and years to come. Also, a big thank you to the NNRC patrons and YouTube members who go the extra mile. If you wish to support the podcast a little bit financially, you can by going to the Patreon, the links in the written description of this podcast. Also, companies that support this podcast, we thank you. Thank you very much. We couldn't do it without you either. Thank you for all your support. If you're a company you think this is a great platform to advertise on, send me a mail, send me an email, shoot me a message, whatever you want to do. Smoke signals, telegraph, send it by Raven. I don't care. Send me a message. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sun Pedal USA, Sci Wonder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC, Donathan RC, Racecraft USA, the Florida RC Championships, Elite RC Productions. Shout out to my boy SJ Racing, Dream Shout Jr. Get your cars built by him. Shout out to House of RC, RCGP, our drivers, Dave Ronfolk, Jared Tebow, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, and Maddie G. We have links for all of those companies in the written description of this podcast. Some you can save some money, some give us some money, some don't have anything besides a link. If you do purchase anything from these companies, just let them know that you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. All right, Max. Since nothing has happened and developed in the last 2.5 hours since we last talked,
yeah,
we're just gonna go right into. I did forget one thing. Did you see that Bull Rock was in an accident?
Oh yeah, it happened at EOS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Borak and a
So-
couple of other French drivers he was traveling with. The car got hit.
Yeah, well, it was Wesley Van Helmen's birthday.
Mm.
So they had gone out, and I don't know what happened. Whatever happened,
Oh no.
there was 5 people in the car. So there was Wesley, Borak, and Colin. Can't remember his last name, and then these 2 French drivers. And both of these French drivers got hit really bad, so they were in the hospital for a while. But luckily, everyone's alive. Everyone's good now and healing. So, yeah.
I regress. I apologize. There was not another car involved. It was ice on a corner, and they lost control.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought, that there wasn't another car.
I apologize.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but yeah, obviously it's an unfortunate accident.
Yeah,
But
hopefully.
yeah, luckily in the end, the thing that got the most damage was the car, not the people inside.
Absolutely. And I saw that Borak hurt his arm, and then the other drivers kind of hurt their they were in the hospital a little longer.
Yeah, at least one of the French drivers broke ribs. I'm not sure about the other, but yeah, two people got hurt really bad. But
yeah, but I believe they're out of the clinics and they are good, and they are home.
Yeah,
so I mean, not good, but got some recovery to do. So shout out to Borak Kilik and the Kilik family and all those guys involved in that. All right, Max. All right, so we're gonna go right into this. I don't think we should dilly dally or scallywag around. We should just go right into RC news because we still have some RC news. Silly season to talk about. A couple races we're going to talk about: EOS Dawn, Florida Carpet Championships, Fall Brawl, and then we are gonna we're just gonna try to do this and geek out. We didn't want to do a 6-hour pod. We wanted to split it up. Being as we're probably not going to record again. I know we're not going to record again until 2023, and then it's probably going to be after I come from Beast to the East and all that stuff. But we will do a Christmas show next week, Thursday at 4 p.m. And then I will do I think in the following week, I'm going to do my last Lefty off the record. And we will do it and that will probably be the 28th, I think it is. And then I need to take some time and chill out. And then I'll go to 2 races in January. All right, Max. So with that said, I say we go right into our RC news. And our RC news is brought to us by High Tech RC and InvisibleSpeed.net. InvisibleSpeed.net will have now got Ryan Lutz and Bruno Coelho on board to help them out with the online clinics, we want to call them. So make your speed visible at InvisibleSpeed.net. We do have an affiliate link. Click it there. Let's talk. Let's hear from Joseph what he says about it.
Stop scrolling, you nerd. Learn something new with Invisible Speed.
Are you the driver of this car?
Yes, sir. Why?
You just won a free alignment.
I had my car touched by JQ, and now I don't feel safe.
I can say that he did improve his time 10 seconds and his best lap.
Last question. Would you recommend the Invisible Speed course?
Yeah, for sure. Spend your money. Good spend.
If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling, you Lewis Hamilton. All right, so thank you to InvisibleSpeed.net. There is a link for that in the written description of this podcast. Also, thank you to High Tech RC for all their continued support of 2023. They have a new servo coming out. We greatly appreciate the support. They are making a push into RC racing. They have been around for 50 years. Next year will be 51. Thank you, High Tech RC. There is a link in the written description for this podcast to find stores that sell them, but you can probably find them at A-Main. Even if you buy any products from them at A-Main, let them know that you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. And I really do like this charger. I have the other one that I need to use, but I've heard nothing but positive information about it. And they have that new 951. Sorry, I can't remember. I just had it. The new server that they're dropping on for them to drop the official press release on the new server. And Max likes his servers too. And he says they got some big things planned coming up in 2024. All right, Max. So we left off with some news. We talked about previous things I heard, but let's start this off with a bang. The EFRA AGM was held while we was away. I know you made some posts. By the way, we have a rant because one of your posts got me in trouble. Actually, two of your posts got me in trouble. But I think you made a really great post all weekend, all the time. That your posts are great and they got a lot of engagement, but it triggers people. By the way, I'm not the only one that posts stuff on the NNRC. This guy does too, but we'll talk about that in our rant briefly. This is one topic that actually caused quite a stir. Was the 40 plus euros with a control tire. I do not understand why 1/8 scale is so scared of this. I do not understand it.
Yeah, to me it's crazy. Like there is one class only which has open tire, and that's 8 scale off-road. And for some reason, people have this image in their mind that, oh, for this class, it's so different from all the other classes that it's just no point in running control tires. Like, to me, it's pretty insane. I don't understand why people are opposed to it. And yeah, it's just silly. I've gone to these European championships so many. How many times now? I'd say I've done 10 euros. I think I've done 10 euros. So each time you pack basically a bag full of just tires. And without doubt, every single time, like I've had almost no tires that were the best for the track. Okay? So it's like no point. That like people have so much tires to go to one race and most of them don't work. I do understand that tire manufacturers like that because they sell tires that never get used. I like the hobby shops in Finland. All of the hobby shops have, I'd say, like anywhere from 50 to 100 sets of tires from the past Euros that they had to sell at a loss because they had to buy them because the drivers in Finland asked like that they support, asked them to like have these tires with them at the Euros. And this happens at all levels, like I bet if those tires were at the hands of the hobby shop, they would be at the hands of some driver that would never use them, So it's just a completely silly thing to have open tires. Another thing is that like most of the time it's not even fair to the drivers there because some drivers have factory support, so or are friends of a manufacturer. So for example, when any of these manufacturers go to the Euros, they pack a certain amount of tires with them. So I've been at a situation at the race where I was a team driver of a brand, but there was a certain amount of sets of tires left. And I had to sort of like, they said, okay, you have 2 sets for the remainder of the race. And there was rounds of qualifying left. So I had to kind of pick, like, do I want to use the set on qualifying? And then I have to gamble that I have to bump up with a tire that doesn't work, Or like, do I struggle with qualifying and then hope I get into the main I'm supposed to be in? Because that manufacturer who's sponsoring me did not have tires for all of their drivers because the tire they brought the most wasn't the one that was actually used. So not even is it unfair for those who have to pay the full price for their tire. It's also unfair for those who are team drivers of some companies.
Yeah, this meets so much resistance. No, I'm not saying that every race in the world has to be spec tire. But I think every world championship, every European championship that I know of, and even amongst national championships, they're all spec tire, right? I'm gonna finish off on this and then we'll move on. I think some people, like I saw one comment say, oh, I did a spec tire and it just didn't work because the tire sucked. Well, the tire sucks for everybody, right? And then it kind of separates. I think here's what it separates. It separates a good driver and good setup guy versus a guy who just throws tires on his car and goes fast. Right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of races out there that do it. I remember Ryan Mayfield at Wiki Weekend. We was having a chat, and he's like, I think all time. He is a big proponent of spec tires. He says he understands that these companies have to make money, and he wants to represent his brand as much as possible. But he says for things to be absolutely 100% fair at these races, it's at these big races, and he just said like a Nationals, a Worlds, and a Euros, it should be a spec tire. So kudos to Afra. They're starting up with the 40 plus Euros, and I hope it filters down to all the Euros. And then I hope we see it in the national level.
Yeah, and I just want to add up to this. Oh, what if the tire is shit? It's like, I think it's down to like the federation to really, because as long as the tire is good quality, so the gluing is good, the wheels are good, and there is not like a ridiculous amount of tire wear, like as long as it's that, there's no matter how the tire is, you know. It can be slippery, it can be a little bit tricky to drive, you know, but like as long as it's like decent to drive. I do understand when it's super high grip and if people are gluing the sidewalls and stuff like that, yeah, that's obviously dumb. But I think like when you do spec tire, you have to really put in the effort to test which tire is good. But if that's done to like an average level or like good procedure, like the spec tire is gonna be so much easier, so much cheaper, and it's gonna level the playing field a lot.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on, we have no more Super Bowl for, is it just for 1/8 scale, which sucks. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. The Super Bowl was introduced to 1/10 track IC and 1/8 track IC. So basically, Nitro on-road classes. It was introduced some time ago, but now it's off. And
did they have a reason for it, real quick?
Yeah. So from what I understood, I mean, the proposal, as far as I remember, didn't really have any reasoning, at least that didn't go too in depth. But basically, it was that they felt that people had engines that were specified for Super Bowl. So these top drivers, they would bring an engine to the race that had like terrible mileage, but a ridiculous amount of power. So basically, it could have like 3 minutes of mileage, but then the power was good. So they would put it only on for the Super Bowl.
Got you.
So I think
I can see where that makes it expensive for the regular person.
Yeah, obviously, I don't think it's that big of a deal, like because like 99% of the time, the guy who's in the Super Bowl is a pro driver, you know. But
yeah,
I don't get it
either.
The argument. I do understand like the argument that it's silly that everyone has to bring an engine that they would only run if it happens that they make the Super Bowl, you know.
Well, not too worried about that. 10 scale off-road Euros in Malmo, Sweden. This is where the last Swedish Nats were held and where the kerfuffle happened between Ronnefalk and Paulson. We'll talk about a little bit on that on the rant because I have something to say about that. 8 scale off-road Euros in Sacil. That's Angaro's race? Yeah, Angaro. So it's back. It's back at Angaro's race. This is like the third time since 2015.
Yeah, in 2025, it's most likely in Figueiredo's track. What's that called?
No, oh yeah, that's good. But they haven't. They had a Euros 2 years ago, last year.
Yeah, I know. So
it's like these are the only tracks that are bidding.
I know, like, but it's not really that they're the only tracks that are bidding because there are other tracks that would want it, you know. But they have bid and they don't get it, you know.
Interesting. All right. And Paul Worsley, no confidence vote did not go through. I'm shocked at this because I think I know a lot of this came from the BRCA guys, I think.
Yeah.
So he is from the BRCA.
Yeah. So the BRCA representative presented a no confidence like vote.
Yeah, to get him voted out. Because he's he's kind of old, right?
Yeah, but no one seconded the no confidence vote. And then after that, they had a vote for like the chairman or whatever, and he got voted into another term, I believe. So
I know people were not happy with him after this last 10 scale Euros.
Yeah, he's a very particular type of guy. I don't know. I haven't like met him recently because I haven't run 10 scale. But I think before he was quite okay. I think he was a bit too nitpicky with the rules. He left like the rules had a bunch of loopholes that wasn't dealt with correctly. But then he was still really nitpicky with the rules. So it was kind of like silly a lot of the times. And the 10 scale has always had like insane rules, like no clapping during the race, no commentary during the race, you know? Like you couldn't, like if there was an A main going, if you was in the crowd, you were not allowed to clap or yell anything.
Oh, well, he would not have approved of the 12 scale routes. Well, anyway,
I
think when I had my rant against him, I think when we had our rant against him, we got some people were messaging. One guy messaging, you should have more respect for him. And then he said that on one of the comments, and even the English guys were like, nope, he was bad at the Euros. So but I mean, there needs to be a change in the guard there. There needs to be a change in the guard.
I think he has this idea of RC as sort of tennis, because he's like a very British guy, you know, like when you think British, like he is that.
Yeah.
So I think he has this idea of like RC, like 10 scale off-road is kind of like tennis, you know, everything is quiet, and then when the cars cross the line, then you can clap, you know.
Okay. Real quick, we're gonna talk about Lutz is going to New Zealand for the first round of the ABC race, so that's good. Asian Buggy Challenge. I wonder if he's going to do the whole series. I hope he does. That'd be cool if he does. That's good for them. It's good to see it's good to see Asia getting some limelight. It's going to be I know the New Zealanders are super excited because like they probably haven't had somebody like Lutz come over for a long time or ever. I don't know. I'd have to talk to him. So they're going to have the first round. That's in February. So they'll be happy about that. Congratulations to that. Do you want to talk about the new because we're trying we still have a lot of silly season noise to talk about. So do you want to talk about the new VRP pistons? And please don't make me have to watermelon seed you in this one.
Yeah, the VRP pistons are that I can go through them. Let me just get it up.
All right, and you also have Kuki Kato is the new Japanese star driver. But let's go. So explain this to me. I'm an idiot.
So basically, the VRP pistons, you have them. Other side is normal, you know, flat. The other side, it has like these little slots that you fit this black silicone piece into flap. Back in the day, it used to be just that there was just the plastic, the silicone flap. But now they introduced, you know, sort of a second layer. So this is like a shim. So the smaller the shim, the more, you know, the flap is allowed to flex. Yeah. So you can by changing the shim, you can fine tune how much the flap opens. So this is pretty much it's kind of the same idea as the MIP pistons. They had like the different number of shims and so on, but I think this is more like it's like neater, maybe like it has like it takes a less space on the piston, and I think it's probably even easier to do this like manufacturing wise. But yeah, VRP has been getting very into like doing stuff within RC recently. Not only have they introduced these new pistons, but they have also introduced like this new shocks suspension geometry for the Agama N1.
He has a whole setup for that.
Yeah, and then like obviously Jones, Tyler, he is now like a full-on VRP. Well, he's been for a while, but obviously he's a full VRP driver. And now
He has
we'll
to
talk
name
about this.
Sparko.
Yeah, and I think there's this sort of Sparkle VRP collab going on right now.
Well, I think yeah, we'll see. We'll talk more about Sparko in silly season. He
Yeah.
also, congratulations to Tyler Jones. He's gonna be a father, I believe, and he just got engaged.
Really?
Oh yeah. All right. Did you want to? I know you want to talk about it. This new because you geek out on Japanese drivers.
Oh, Koki Kata.
Koki Kato. This is the young guy that was. This is the guy that was at the Worlds, correct?
Yeah, he was at the Worlds, and I think the last podcast we had.
He did. Did he do well in 8 scale?
Yeah, he won the 8 scale nats in Japan as well. So I talked about that, and then Kanai was sort of praising him for being like the next star of Japan. Now he takes tool drive and full drive 10 scale off road at the Japanese nats. I believe I can't remember how he did at the 8 scale Nitro Track Worlds, but he was there as well, and I think he did really well. Like I think he had like top 10 rounds in qualifying. So like this is a very, very promising driver. And he's only 17-year-old.
Max's favorite driver is Nato, so he geeks out on Japanese drivers.
No, but I think like I'm fascinated by the history of like RC.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you look at the history, the amount of high-end Japanese drivers there was, like Japan is pretty much where this whole sport has been born, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like RC racing started from Japan. So
yeah,
I think
I understand that.
Yeah, so I think for that sake too, it's really good, you know, to have that's kind of like saying that if NASCAR slowly evolved into a sport where there were only European drivers, and then, you know, an American driver got back into NASCAR, I think that's kind of the same that I feel, you know.
Got you. All right. Well, we'll let you geek. I met 2 Japanese drivers at the 12 scale Worlds, Ishiuaga and Yamashita.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice
Yeah,
guys. They didn't speak much English, but nice guys.
Yeah, the other one, I think
Yaganasawa.
Yaganasawa, yeah. That was
he didn't come. He didn't make it.
Oh, but the Ishioka one then.
He was there. He made the A final.
Yeah, but he also made the A final in touring.
Okay.
Worlds.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think it's time to go on some silly season news that we have to finish up from our previous.
You don't want to talk about the new Axon car?
Can we save that for another day? Because you're gonna go
save it for another day.
You're gonna geek off for 15 minutes on that, and we're on a time. You know what? We're on a time limit today because JQ needs to use the StreamYard in 2 hours. So you know we gotta go through this stuff pretty fast. So everybody can blame JQ for this part of the pod. And you're leaving tomorrow, so we can't record tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you know, all JQ's fault. And silly season news is brought to you by Sidewinder Fuel. Sidewinder Fuel has been made by Morgan Fuel, has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 35 years. This has enabled them to test their fuels in many of the most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result is Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This fuel has been track tested and improved by national world champions such as Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Mayfield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavidis, and many more. Their current top driver is Little Bump. These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended perfectly for the high performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase Sidewinder today. All right, you like that? I like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
You're gonna become a
radio voice. All right. So, being as we talked about Sparky Sparko, they are making a push in America. So, I believe Pavidis is going to be driving for him. He just recently won Toys for Tots with them at the Drake's track at Palm Desert. We went up. Did you ever go to Palm Desert? No, you didn't go to Palm Desert, did you? No, you didn't. We went like the year after.
Yeah.
He won. He didn't win. He came like second to Drake.
Yeah.
He was at the recent this past weekend at the U.S. Open at Adobe RC Raceway. And I don't think he's getting paid or anything like that. I just think he's getting product.
No.
I think
Yeah.
Pavitas is kind of just enjoying RC right now.
Yeah, so I actually chatted up with him a bit through Facebook, and also actually I was watching the live stream by Mod, and he was there on the commentary booth or whatever, and I was chatting him up on a YouTube chat. I was awake at night. So from what he said, it was basically that they sent him a car, and that I don't think he even has a contract or anything at this point, but he's sort of just testing the car, driving it. Kind of the same deal that was with Jones at the beginning. But yeah, I think they are trying to form an actual team, because VRP has been releasing these drivers, you know.
No, but it's not VRP. It's Power Hobbies, who's the distributor over in New Jersey. My buddy Mike Kaz out of Vegas is actually the West Coast manager now. He's kind of had this car for a few months now. The e-buggy is coming out in January, and this. Now, remember I said in the previous podcast, I think Kyosho is going to make a lot of N-roads next year, as well as S-Works. I think this is going to be one of the cars that makes a lot of N-roads as well. The one thing that's going to hold it back for now is not having a Truggy or e-Truggy compared to Kyosho and S-Works. But Sparko seems to be on the tip of everybody's. My buddy Kevin Winters had one at Fall Brawl, and he was telling me about it. And he says a lot of guys up in the Northeast are starting to switch over to them. So I think this is going to be a very popular car. And I believe they're going to sign a big name in America. I was told that. They wouldn't tell me who it was. But we shall see. We shall see. I mean, it's not too many big names that are probably going to be looking for a ride. Cavallari, Tasman. So we don't know. All right. But I think Sparko is going to make some moves in America in 2024.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to go right into? So let's go into. We talked about Ty leaving. Well, Ty getting dismissed from X-Ray, right? So that leaves, and Gord was the team manager for X-Ray. So that leaves who's going to take that spot, or are they going to have a top driver and a team manager again? Now, I think the last time we talked about this, I said that I think if I'm X-Ray, I'll hire Cavallari and hire Paul Cigarello as team manager. Well, maybe they'll hire a guy like Paul Lemieux because his son does race this. Maybe he'll become the team manager. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. But something else kind of piqued my interest and wrapped my brain around it. What if the Fullers go to X-Ray? Because I know we're going to get into extra HB about this, but a lot of reasons drivers were leaving is because of this. They owed this, dinero, money, ching, pennies, dollars. And I'm not talking about a little bit of money. I'm talking about thousands of dollars, right? I know Little Bump left because of that. And I know that other drivers, Pavitas mentioned it. And I think, and there's no hidden secret that even we've heard it from the Fullers as well. People have talked about the Fullers being owed money, mostly for travel money, right? And contingency.
Yeah, that's the same as with Pavitas. He said he was owed travel money.
So,
yeah, I think, so like that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with X-Ray, but that opens up quite a stack of drivers that X-Ray could be looking at that are much cheaper than Tesman and Godworth. So I'm feeling that they are in a little bit of a weird place right now because they have Tom Rinnicknet. From R1. Tom from R1. That's what you call him. He is running their 10 scale stuff. They have.
And he runs their 8 scale stuff.
Yeah, but like he's like especially a 10 scale driver, a good one. Then they have on road side of things, they have drivers like Kevin Hebert and Lemieux, who are quite good in.
Oh no, but Chase Lemieux runs off-road too. He's good too. Paul Lemieux's son.
Yeah, but these guys are not.
Lemieux isn't racing no more, I don't think.
Yeah, but well, no, not the father, but I mean like it's the family still, you know. So I think there's room for X-Ray to make a few different decisions here. If there's room for putting more money into touring cars and like 10 scale off-road, because I think they have good platforms there. They already have the people there that they can start to push through. Just put like more, effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Or then they have to kind of start over with the 8 scale, So they have to choose kind of what to do. And to be honest, I don't really know, because in America, automatics is really big, but I'd say X-Ray or CRC is the second biggest in terms of like on-road market. But then like, I think there's more room for X-Ray to put there because it's growing. But I mean, 8 scale is by far the biggest.
All right. So I get all of what you're saying, right? But they need somebody, right? What the tie's going, unless they plan on sending Ron Falk over there to race everything, which they're going to need somebody in the USA. And I was thinking, I'm not saying that the Fullers are leaving either, by the way, because they have another year on their contract apparently. But if they were to leave, where would they go, right? And who has room right now and possibly a budget to hire them would be X-Ray. That's what I was thinking. And this kind of epiphany came to me a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, we could be the Fullers. But still, I think if which would be a good move, because Caden and Mason are both new. About Mason's, just he's a level or two above Caden at the moment. But if they wanted to get somebody at a decent price who can do both 10 scale and 8 scale, Cav would be my answer to that. So I have a feeling that one of those two options is going to happen for X-Ray. Which one? I do not know.
I think Cav's issue is that I'm like 99% sure that Schumacher doesn't do 1-year deals for that big drivers. So he's locked in with the Schumacher deal. So even if WIRC dumps him, or like they don't have money or whatever, he dumps them. I don't think like Cavalieri gets the.
Well, I think he's done at WIRC because everything is Marco Barufalo. In fact, I just saw today or yesterday that they're advertising for teen drivers at WIRC USA, and they got Barufalo on there.
Yeah,
no Cavalieri. Maybe after Sparko.
Yeah, so I don't know Cav's 8 scale platform, like what's happening with that, but I can't see him switching because he'll have to switch 10 scale. X-Ray doesn't do, like you run everything.
Oh, that's their bitter enemy.
Yeah.
That's their bitter enemy.
Yeah. So I see it much more likely that they if they would hire someone, they'd hire the Fullers because they have a lot of potential. They're most likely cheaper than Cavalieri. But
it's two of them plus their dad.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still like Cavalieri would always have a mechanic, So I would say that if they would hire someone, they'd hire Fullers, and then because they are both great at 10 scale, they just don't race it as much, anymore. So yeah, I think Fullers, and then just make them run more 10 scale. That's it.
My silly season sense, Spidey sense is just tingling with that. I'm not saying that the Fullers are leaving HB. I just know that they're going. That there's no secret.
Well, can we now talk about HB?
Let's talk about HB. So, future of HB. This is going to trigger all of the HB diehards out there, just like your post triggered them, and I got blamed for it, which wasn't even bad. It was the little bump leaving post. So, we're seeing an exodus of HB drivers. A lot of diehard HB guys are leaving. Colin Herzig, he was with HB for a long time. He was with HB back when HB before it got really popular in America. Popular in California. We saw Little Bump leave. Who else has left that the other day that was not, and at the same time I see people are still staying, right? They just had, how everybody was posting that they're still going to stay. Still a popular car in the Southeast. Lots of people have it. It's still a very popular car in America. for many people. But it's no secret. I've been hearing how it's hard to get parts worldwide. I've heard how people are saying they're waiting for kits to come. Like people have ordered kits and like 10, 20 kits and only got 5. So this seems to be something very similar to HB. If you even want to go back to when Ronafalk left, one of the reasons that he left, or the main reason, was because of the firing of what's his name, Oscar such and such.
Janssen.
What's his name?
Oscar Janssen.
Oscar Janssen, who had been with HB and Neidhart for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Their electric guy does all the electric stuff, and out of the blue, he's just fired, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why Adrian and whatchamacallit got out. Like they kind of started writing on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. Janssen was the guy who started Orion. So
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Neidhart,
I don't know what the future holds for this company, to be honest. But with drivers kind of leaving, and look, drivers leave for all types of reasons, right? But I'm seeing a lot of diehard HB guys leaving.
Yeah, but I mean, I think when it's not like Pavidis didn't get paid. It's Pavidis, Lil Bump, and most likely from what we've heard, Pullers,
Mm-hmm.
All of these drivers have not gotten paid for travel for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no secret that HP has been in financial trouble for a while. And we've heard this from many people who have worked very closely with them, sold their kits and sold their parts and whatever, and been very closely tied with HP. So for sure there are issues with there. Are they gonna is something gonna happen? Are they gonna just stay, or what's happening?
Well, I have a letter.
You have a letter?
Here, that they must have sent out to HB drivers. And here's what it says. I trust this message finds you in great spirits. We have some exciting news to share that will bring positive changes to our business operations. So they're not going anywhere at the moment.
Okay.
In our unwavering commitment to elevating customer service and adapting to the ever-evolving industry landscape, we are thrilled to announce that our company will be relocating to a new state-of-the-art facility in Vernier, Geneva in January 2024. The meticulous selection of our new premises aims to enhance not only our efficiency, but also the overall logistics of our operation, transforming from our current 3-story setup in Plan L'Ouest, Kuwait, that's wherever they are, I don't know if I said that right, to a more streamlined, single-floor, larger space is a strategic move that will empower us to expedite order processes and enhance the speed of deliveries. While the task of moving a company of our size after 2 decades in our current location is no small feat, we view this as a golden opportunity to optimize our operations and elevate the quality of our services. And, so basically they're just going to say, okay, please aware that we will have a temporary operational pause during the relocation process as we seamlessly transfer our stock and offices. However, we want to basically they're saying that they're going to be closed on.
So
exact dates of the relocation will be communicated early January. Well, they didn't have much product to get out to people anyway. Well, I mean, not available, obviously, because they're not. So it sounds like they're moving to a smaller place, more.
But what was it say? Geneva?
Yes. Well, they're in Geneva.
I know. Yeah, so it's still in Switzerland, but I don't know where they're based right now. I have no idea. Okay.
It said it's. I'm sure it's not too far, but I'm pretty sure it's in Switzerland too. Excuse me.
Yeah, they are based in Switzerland right now. But
it sounds like they're moving from a bigger 3-story place to a single factory.
Yeah.
I don't know how big of a place they need for something like this, but I mean, on top of that, with a new car that some like, some dislike, and no real. When I say a new and while the platform is great, they're in need of a new car, right? And when I say I should say a modern car. That's about
their newest model, which is the one that Fullers and these guys are running. Atsushihara won the world championships with the same gearboxes. Okay? Like, I think Caden Fuller wasn't born. I think those gearboxes are older than Caden Fuller. Okay?
2008, 15, 2008 to 2018 is 10 years.
How old is it's 15 years from now?
Yeah, he's
So
about 15. He's probably just being born.
Okay, so the HB 8-scale buggy gearboxes are older than one of their top drivers. Okay, so that's just to paint the picture of how outdated some of the things on their car are.
Well,
just to paint picture.
We'll see. Maybe moving to this new facility will help, because I know getting parts has been an issue. So hopefully they'll get parts that they need and the support they need. But when I see diehards leaving, like regular guys, regional guys leaving and getting tired of it, then something's up. But we'll see. I mean, I don't think they're going anywhere, being as they're moving. And also, it's no lie, it's been up for sale for quite some time. So, I don't know if it got sold. Maybe it got sold. Who knows? But then, why not just? But I don't think it did. I think they're just moving. Probably got a cheaper place, smaller. 3 stories is a lot easier to maintain than one story is easier to maintain than 3 stories. So maybe they are.
I think we're at the point where I don't think they even know what's going to happen up with HP. I think like it's kind of now they try to get everything working, hope that they get kits sold, and hope that their process is better. If it doesn't get better, they're gonna go like
tits up
in 2025. But I think they're gonna give it a last push in 2024, see how it goes, and then keep it going or give up.
Yeah, and their 10 scale, the 10 scale thing was a flop too. I don't care what anybody says, it was a flop.
Yeah,
released 5 years too late.
Yeah, and they even released it with an unsymmetric front link mount.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
that's what happens with the factory and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's
there's a lot of issues. There's just a lot of issues.
No brand is perfect, but HB has its issues, and it's been ongoing. Like getting parts and supply has been a big issue for them over many years.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, they have like a double or triple amount of vendors compared to, other brands. Like where they
still a very popular platform.
It is. Yeah. I mean, I think the marketing is good. Well, I mean, not say marketing, but their brand image is good. They have history. So, I mean, yeah, they can do it, but I think that's just procedural issues in the company right now.
All right. Up, we'll see what happens with HB. Up next, Grainer. What's his? Dominic Grainer.
Yeah.
Maximum bullshit guy. He became famous by being the guy who termed that phrase. Was it after a 1/10 race or 1/8 race he did this?
So it was 1/10 IC track in Turkey. And actually, from those people who don't know that why he said it, it was because that race had the transponder line after the pit lane. Okay, so Greiner was leading through the race. He led almost the whole time. Then Bruno Coelho flamed out. Okay, and he flamed out quite at the beginning of the track, and he got started up, and then drove on the transponder line. So he didn't complete the lap, but got a lap because the transponder line was.
Yeah, that's maximum bullshit.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Bruno actually he flamed out at least once, but if I'm not wrong, he flamed out twice. But Greiner absolutely dominated the race. He on track actually, Greiner just straight up won the race. But Bruno, because of these flameouts and the transponder line being after the pit lane, Bruno ended up being awarded the European Championships because apparently there wasn't a rule in the rule book that could have done anything good. So obviously Greiner was annoyed because he did all he could have. He didn't do anything wrong, but then he didn't win. So that's why he thought it was maximum bullshit, as he said.
Maximum bullshit. So if people don't know about Greiner, he has made 6 world championship finals in the 8 scale his sixth appearance was in the 8 scale worlds in Japan. He has been racing for 15 years in nitro racing, so he's apparently retiring from nitro racing. Where is he German? I want to say.
Yeah, he's a German driver. So basically, I'd say he was the top. I'd say like before Balestri was as good as he is now. Dominic Reiner was the top driver in especially in the 1/10 on road category. But overall, I'd say he was probably the best in on road track, like European Championships.
He's won a world championship.
He's won a 1/10 track world championship
2016.
Yeah, so he's a really, really fast driver and really good driver, but he basically couldn't get paid through Serpent. I don't know if he switched brands or what he was running, but basically when Serpent couldn't offer him money anymore because there was there's no money in on-road anymore, on Nitro on-road to be specific. He went on and got a full-time job, and his reasoning was that, Nitro takes a lot of time, a lot of testing in it. You're competing against drivers on Infinity who have like so much more money, they get paid, they don't need another job. Just not worth it to do and not capable to compete at the level he would like to, when doing a full-time job. But then, so he wasn't with Serpent for the past few years. So, however, now after I think it was a few days or a week after that announcement, it was announced that he's going to join Serpent again. But this time he's racing, just electric. Yeah. So what I believe is he's still into RC, like it doesn't go away. I think he's just gonna race and test and like see how it goes, but still keep his day job.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
I think it's to me, when I saw this, I was kind of like, is this gonna be a thing for a lot of guys in a few years? Ty being perhaps the first one.
Like a part-time job. We talked about this, having a part-time job and doing RC part-time. Making some money off RC, but
but
not enough to live off.
Not necessarily just that, but basically a driver who's a world champion at the very top end of the level, but like maybe they race a class that is not that popular, or maybe they have dwindled down just a bit where they can't really keep themselves as top name anymore. And one time a dominating name in RC, almost completely out of RC in terms of like being in their profession, I think it's an unfortunate image, but I think that's kind of where we're headed to. RC as a hobby, it has grown massively, but RC as a professional sport, I mean, it has to be said, it's shrinking, unfortunately.
It is absolutely. We talked about this in the previous podcast with Ty. All right, and final silly season news, because I haven't really heard anything else. Schumacher advertising for an engineer.
Yeah.
Does this mean one of two things? An engineer is leaving, and I think the only engineer is Trish.
They have a few others, but
are they looking to do or like you have in your notes, 8 scale project finally on the way?
Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, obviously it could be that someone's just leaving, but I mean, it could as well be that they are looking to start officially the 8 scale project. Who knows? I mean, they already have an European Championship under their belt in 8 scale off road.
They do.
Electric.
I mean, what if somebody like Trish is leaving? Not saying that it is, but I don't think
Trish is leaving, but They do have they do have engineers on the on-road side, because Trish only is on the off-road. I don't think he has anything to do with on-road.
Yeah, because he was not at the Worlds recently.
No,
he was
they
at
have
the Florida Carpet
yeah.
Championships though.
Yeah, they have different engineers for on-road and off-road. So I mean, it could just be that someone's quitting, but it could be that they just need some extra hands there. And I thought it would be good to bring some positive news. A brand, getting new people working for them. Clearly, if you hire people, usually you're doing good. You're scaling up your operation. So at least some people are doing good in the industry, which is good to see.
Absolutely. It would be interesting to see what that equates to, and if it's somebody that's leaving, or they're bringing on somebody to do what you thought they were going to do. All right. We have no more silly season news. We will keep our eyes peeled over the next couple of, silly season kind of happens after the holidays. So if by the time I do my next recording and we hear something, I will talk about it. But that's all the silly season news we have for at the moment. Unless I missed out something, I don't know. I do not know. All right. Let's move on. Do we want to do let's do questions real quick. I think we should do questions. So we have some questions. We're not going to get to all of them because we are on a limited time this week. But I know this is your last chance to ask questions for the year max. So I know you really want to do this. And we want to thank you to BeachRC for bringing this to you. If you guys want to support us a little bit more, you can go to beachrc.com. We have a link, an affiliate link in the written description of this podcast. And I hope you guys use it and help us out. And thank you to Brent and Lucas for all the support. I got to hang out with. I didn't get to hang out with them much, but I got to see them up at her recently at the Fall Brawl, which happened a couple of weeks ago. So check them out. Order up some stuff. Use that affiliate link. Help us out a little bit. We greatly appreciate it. All right. So we do have questions. Some of them are repetitive. Some I won't ask. We get asked these questions quite a lot. The same questions over and over on this podcast sometimes. And I have to control you from geeking out too much. All right. Josh Sargent, what's up? Saw him at Fall Brawl. And he had one of these mentally broke down moments in his race. He went from first to last before the first lap was over. But that track was really hard. He says, how do you stay mentally in the zone throughout the race weekend? I find that the less track time I get each day, tons of practice, less in quals, and none before the mains, I find myself making more stupid mistakes due to lack of focus by main day. So basically what it's saying is practice is fine, because they have open practice. They could go up and down as much as they want. But when he has to have time in between qualifiers and stuff, that's when he kind of sucks. He loses focus, I should say. It's not suck.
Yeah. Well, there are like a few different things. One often is that you're kind of not one with your car. So a lot of people, especially in America, have this where they don't really practice. They only race, They don't go out to the track just to have a day. To practice. So a lot of the times you don't really ever feel connected with the car. So that's one thing, because for me, like when I'm feeling good with the car, I can just drop it on the track, do a warm-up lap, and then I'm good, So that's one. Having a setup where you can trust the car, it feels to your own. Another thing is like kind of to walk the track, try to memorize the track,
It's kind of hard to do that because they don't have time in between races. It's going constantly.
No, I mean, not between races, but like prior to the day, like in the morning, like walk the track, try to, paint an image in your mind of the track. That then you have a much more, connected image of the track in your head, and when you go into the driver's stand, you're not immediately like, oh shit, like what am I doing here? This you do kind of like over the weekend, then also one more thing. I mean, this is something that I guess it depends on what level driver you are, but this is what like professional, like full scale drivers do a lot. And I bet some of the RC pros do this as well. Basically just drive the laps with the transmitter in your hand and with your eyes closed, and then time yourself. Because like you can do this if you are at their home track, you done like a million laps around it or whatever. You can get into like a second, half a second quite easily. When you are like a really good driver, you can get into like tenths, of your average lap doing that. But when you're not known to the track, you can be like seconds off, So just like close your eyes, like do all the things you do on the track with the transmitter, but do it in your head. But hold the transmitter in your hand. That's one way to just kind of get in the rhythm.
And I would say go out and watch as much racing as you can too.
Yeah.
Especially prior to your qualifiers to see what's going on at the track. That's a good way too. All right. Douglas Reek, how you doing, Douglas? I think you had an operation or surgery here recently. He wants to know, will you and Max ever come to a race in Minnesota? I never say never. If it works out, I don't know where I'm going to be I don't know where I'm going to be after January. That's how it works out. So anything's possible. As for Max, probably highly unlikely.
I don't think
be similar weather to Finland.
Yeah, that's one more reason not to go. I mean, I'd say highly unlikely I'd ever go to Minnesota.
All right. Ballman Basement asks, all the changes of drivers in this industry, do we finally see the rise of the youth or the slow, painful death of scale motorsports? We talked about this.
Yeah, I'd say the latter most likely than the prior.
Okay. The youth still have to beat these fast guys.
Yeah.
Zach Ryan wants to know, what's up, Zach? Why don't they DLC coat the inner and outer race of the rear bearing to remove corrosion from engines like they do the crank? Even look at the latest OS with the steel insert in the backplate. Rust like hell, and then the rust goes through the engine. Why not DLC this part? Cost, maybe?
Well, cost for sure. I remember when Reds made the DLC coatings, and like I talked then with Marco Rossi, and it was like the price of the crank is just like basically like 5-6 times. So, and the crank is one of the most expensive parts of the engine. So yeah, there is like there's a lot of cost into like proper DLC coating. Like, yeah, you can get some DLC coating, which is not really that high quality from somewhere. But it's really expensive if you do it properly, which is what you would do for engines. Then another thing is, he was talking about the rear bearing, right?
Yeah, the outer race of it.
Yeah, I don't necessarily understand why you would need to like.
Apparently, it rusts.
Oh yeah, the rust. Okay, yeah. Well, one thing is that bearings are like, I bet the bearings are like probably 99% outsourced. I don't think there's any engine manufacturer who
making the bearings.
Yeah, so all of them are outsourced from somewhere. I'm like very, very sure. So I think that's probably the main reason that there probably ain't much manufacturers who make DLC coated bearings. And I think like unless you run in a really moist climate and you oil your engine regularly, it's like RC engines are kind of like guns, like you have to clean them and oil them, and like unless you do that, they're just gonna rust. So and like it works better when it's just pure metal usually. Obviously, like the crank is better DLC coated because it has a lot of like wear on it otherwise, from the clutch bell bearings as well as the conrod. But yeah, I think like obviously the price would probably like dip the triple or something, maybe even like 5 times as the price. So that like you're already paying so much for the rear bearing, and then on top of that, probably not even possible because everything is outsourced. So yeah, not really a realistic idea, I think.
All right. Yeah, I would have to agree with that, especially the bearings outsourced, coming from other companies, and I mean, maybe that plate he's talking about, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like at least me, before every single race I do, I tear apart my engine.
He says the latest OS has a steel insert in the back plate.
Yeah, it's just too expensive for like a very minimal gain. You know, I do understand like the conrod because it actually lengthens the life of it by a crazy amount, but anything else that really isn't the point.
Okay. Paul Rodman says, with the AE and others releasing new cars or revisions, will Techno release a 2.2 or 3.0 after having input from Mayfield from this last year? I say it's a possibility. I'm pretty sure they will do something like that. And he also asked, do you agree with that?
Do I agree? Yeah. I think
I would agree
Mayfield,
with that.
I bet Mayfield has changed quite a bit on the car already.
Yeah, I would bet so too. And he says, will they ever make a 10 scale wheeler that unanimously competitive? I don't think Techno is going to put any more money into 10 scale, that 4-wheel drive. They're just going to, I think they have no interest. I was listening to Mayfield on Wheel and Trigger, which was a great interview, by the way, on Brent's podcast. It was very good. And he said, and I've heard Techno say they just have no interest in getting into that 10 scale market too much. But with that said, anything's possible. And I definitely think we're going to see a new Techno car come out very soon with improvisions from Mayfield, you know, after input.
But I do have to say the 10 scale market that there are probably like 6, 7, maybe even 10 tool drives out there that are like used around the world. And there is almost no difference between them whatsoever. Like, and same with Fall Drive, apart from the Schumacher, the obvious one, because that one has a belt drive. So in the 10 scale market, the difference between cars is not a lot. They are already quite high end in terms of performance. They are in general cheaper. And they wear down less. So in terms of like sales, you much more likely sell one or two 8-scale cars per customer a year, versus someone could run the same tool drive for 2-3 years, you know. So much less money to be made. They cost much less, so obviously less profit. And same like monetary wise, less profit. And I don't know exactly, but I'd be pretty confident to say there are more 8-scale cars around there than there are 10-scale offer cars.
Oh, I'm confident of that. I'm 100% confident of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think it's just really hard market to be competitive in, because there's so little differences and such many brands. Less drivers, less profit to be made per kit, less wear, you know. So for a manufacturer standpoint, 8-scale is much more easier to get into. That's why there's so many 8-scale buggies around too, and they are all doing like somewhat well.
Okay. Mark Styles, is 112 modified the ultimate glory, or is spec more important because that's what pays the bills for manufacturers? And how will things look by the time the next 12 scale world championship is run in 2 years' time? So I'm going to say this. I'm not an expert in this class, right? But I will say this. The spec, I'll look at this like stock and modified in America. In 12 scale, I'm not going to lie. Every time I like the spec class too. They're fast, but man, I tell you, those modified cars were exceptionally fast. Like, I wouldn't even think of trying to drive one. No, it was just too fast for me. There's a select bunch of people in the world that can drive those things at the speed that they were going. Now, the spec class had a way deeper competition field. And that's where the money is, just like in stock and modified in off-road. In off-road in America, Modified is like 12 scale. It's where people go who are like professional drivers and all that type of stuff. And stock has its professional drivers too. Stock professional drivers, but stock is a more competitive, more money making venture for companies because a lot of money to be made of. I think one of the reasons that these things are popular is because if you have look, I'll be honest with you, a 13.5. I think that these so let's put this, if I can put it the best way I can think of it in my head. The modified cars are going to be fast no matter what. You know what I mean? You can put, I think they have a limit to turns you can put on there. I'm not sure. But it comes to a point where it's too fast, right? And you can't hold on to it. You can actually probably get away with it being a little bit slower at some point if it handles better. But when it comes to a spec class of a spec motor, it could come down to somebody who knows how to build a motor and tune a motor and all that type of stuff more. That can mean a difference between that can make up for driving ability. Does that make sense? Or make up for a bad handling car? Does that? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like I can have a motor with more power that's been tuned for more power, but still in illegal limits and pull you because I can beat you because I have more speed. Versus just a touch more. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking in my brain right now.
I think currently the 13.5s are powerful enough where the gains to be made are really, really small.
Okay.
So I would have to, I have to say I don't have like full confidence in that, but I would say that the more powerful the engines, the less likely there is. When you're running a 17.5, like that little bit of an edge does give you much more because you're like always struggling for power. But 13.5, you are gonna be driving a little.
Yeah, but if you have a car that's a little bit faster, just a little bit faster. Because I'm gonna tell you, so when I watch this race, I don't mean to cut you off, but I am. When I was watching this race coming on that straightaway and they had that turn like that at the end of the straightaway. Yeah. Now them spec cars were able just to back off a little bit and go around them because they weren't going fast. Yeah. They were able to get on the power a lot sooner. When them modifieds came on, you could hear them on the brakes. Like you could hear the brakes in the car reaching for traction to go around that. So, and then there's all those 13.5s that you could win that. You could win that race on a straightaway. You know what I mean? Or power coming out of the corners and stuff like that. Whereas the modifieds are all around equal. Even the specs are all around equal. But it's so much money in that, right? It's so much money in the spec class.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like before I was of the opinion that like everyone should just run mod. But now I think due to carpet racing in off-road, and then also looking at how it was at the Worlds in off-road, where it was a surface that was much more difficult, but these pros were still running like insane amount of power because like they are just like, as a drivers, you kind of need to maximize everything you can have.
Mm-hmm.
And then seeing that in most of Europe, the modified touring class has like almost died completely. So I think same with the 12 scale. So I've kind of come to these days believe that some form of spec class will be the new modified. So yeah. I think
you think that's going to be the class that all these guys run and strive for?
I think, for example, in Europe right now, they have 6.5 Blinky. That's the modified. They don't have an unlimited modified class anymore in Europe. So, for example, that European Championship Hagberg one, that was 6.5 Blinky.
Mm.
And then the spec class was 13.5 Blinky. So I think that is going to be the future of modified. It's gonna be that there's like kind of like in full scale. Like it's not that you can't run, you can't run like any sized engine you want in F1 or even motocross or rallying. It's like 1.5 liters. your turbo can be this much, the power output will most likely be around this, and that's the same that we should be doing in electric. In nitro off-road, it's 25cc. In electric, we don't necessarily know the parameters, like turns don't mean shit. What means stuff is like timing, the like resistance of the coils, like all of these things. For example, that now like what Trinity and motors and the Reedy motors had issues with, like I think we will need to, in the future, we're not there yet, I'd say, but in the future, all of these modified classes will become basically that there will be, let's say, like 6.5 turns or 5.5 turns, and then you have certain limitations to like timing and so on and so on. And then it will, the sort of distinction between like mod and stock will kind of go away, because I think right now we're just, especially e-buggy right now, it's just crazy. It's just stupid the amount of power we have. So I think there needs to be some sort of new development. And I think it's not, because before the issue was that the batteries didn't last, you couldn't have a lot of power because the batteries didn't last. Now we have LiPo batteries. Then we went to like lighter and lighter batteries. So you kind of had to control the power. And then we had the issues that there wasn't grip. We was running cars that were very high center of gravity and on like low grip tracks. Now we're on carpet tracks. The cars are good enough. Essentially, we can have as much power as the driver is able to handle. And we can see it here, like, especially in pan cars, the issue is that most of the time, like, barely half of the grid can finish their 8-minute race. Like these worlds were good, but at there for Euros, like a lot of the times, it's like half of the grid can finish the race because it's so difficult to drive.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's the reason why in the
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I understand it. It. Got you. We'll see.
Basically, I think what will happen is there will be two classes. There will be spec 13.5 and spec, will it be 7.5 or 6.5 or 5.5, whatever it will be. But that's what it will come down to. And then we will have like touring and on-road and pan cars and everything. We will basically, every manufacturer will do engines with 2 turns. There's the modified turn amount, and then there's the spec turn amount, and then there's the like low end spec turn amount.
Then there's the cheetah motors.
Yeah, but I think that's what we will end up at, and I think that's much more interesting way in terms of product development for the future.
Okay, I could agree with that. All right, real quick, Marco Steinbuckle. Why is it that Serpent off-road cars aren't common in 8th and especially in 10 scale racing? Lack of local hobby shops and stocking parts, or due to very few pro drivers running and promoting them? They are a big and old name in the industry with many titles in the past, but they seem to be slowly disappearing away from 8 scale on-road racing. So in off-road racing, I would say Serpent is pretty much non-existent except for certain little pockets. I know some people in England run them, and in Finland some people run them. Still a great car. In America, they were doing very well. And then once Paul Ciccarello left, it just disappeared. I don't think there's anybody run. I saw a Serpent truck at one race, but slowly disappearing, and that in turn leads, when there's nobody out there running the same car as you can't get parts from somewhere. It just leads to the demise of that. As for on-road, I don't follow it enough. In GT, they seem to be very popular, but GT is a niche of a niche of a niche. Just great quality car, right? But you definitely don't see Serpent like you used to back in the day. More cars out there too. More cars. Infinity, all these type of cars, all these touring cars out there now. Everybody making them. It's become a very and just on-road itself has gotten smaller. And they kind of stopped focusing on off-road and they all went all in on-road. But I think it's a very dying.
Well, I don't
On-road
think
needs an
they're-
injection of new people. Because I'm going to tell
I
you,
don't
at this
think-
recent 12 scale awards, if I can say one thing, there's like one 14-year-old kid there.
Yeah.
You know, most of them were grown men or older men. So on-road is more of an older man's sport, it seems, in this world.
Yeah, but I think what comes to Serpent, it was basically that they was doing quite a big push in America. I'd say like what, 2015 onwards, maybe?
Yeah.
Until when Paul left. In Europe, they had a few drivers for a long time, but it didn't really ever seem to pick up in a way. In on-road, they're like, yeah, they're very, you know, classic manufacturer, but I don't think they have even a one pro driver anymore. I can't name a pro driver in any class for that matter. So I think there's a few reasons. So one is in on-road classes, Mugen, they have designated, you know, distributors who sell off-road kits and on-road kits. Then we have someone like Shepherd and Capricorn who are like 100% on-road. So they don't give a shit about anything else except for on-road. So they put kind of all of their eggs into one basket. So, you know, when some companies like, hey, you want to sell your kits, they know that guy's into on-road. But when Serpent's trying to find someone, they're like, hey, well, we have a 10 scale buggy, we have a 8 scale buggy, but we have this on-road stuff. So it takes a lot more of effort, you know, get to sell that stuff. So I think they've kind of they've tried to do too much, but not put enough effort into anything. So I think that's essentially what's hurting them, because it's easy if you're a hardcore on-road guy, you go for those hardcore on-road brands. If you are an off-road guy, you go for those hardcore off-road brands. But Serpent is none of them, you know? And you'd rather like X-Ray's the same type, but they're a much bigger brand overall. You know? So they're kind of like the X-Ray, and also they are more expensive than the other cars. That's one more reason as well.
Okay. All right. We have one more question. Real quick. What do you think about the Sparko car from Raw Blooper? Is it any good?
I do think it's surprisingly good. When looking at it, it's essentially really close to something like a TLR. But I think instead of being like a TLR, they've made like key changes to make it more calm, you know? The rear end, everything, they kind of understood maybe they took influence from like Kyosho or HB, and they also have a bunch of like S-Works parts. So I think they have kind of, maybe by knowledge, maybe by luck, who knows, they kind of got together quite a balanced package, whereas TLR, you know, has the most unbalanced package there ever could be, and then they've tried little by little to bring it together. So I think that's basically what Sparko is. It's more aggressive than the old HB, but it also has more support, but it's also much more like linear and easy to drive, most likely, than the new HB. I think that's what I would expect from the car. Obviously, I have never driven one, so I can't be like, hey, this is how it is. But judging from the geometry and the picture I've seen of the car, and also like what is the feedback I've heard, I think it's kind of a car that's between an HB and a TLR.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on to some Instagram questions.
I'm talking about old HB, not the new one.
Okay. Kim Eliasson asks, how much do RC pros actually make? Example, Ranafal, Coelho, Ongaro, Hagberg, or Rifkin. I don't know how much they make, but I know I was listening to Wheel and Trigger, and Mayfield was there, and he said, this is what he said. He says, and Mayfield's at the top tier. I see Mayfield's probably making the most money, one of the most highly paid drivers at this moment. He said is making just north of 150 and south of 200. And that's probably with contingency. I would say that's on the very higher upper echelons of things. But you also got to remember these guys don't pay for flights, they don't pay for this, they don't pay for no RC stuff like racing stuff.
But I think that's pre-taxes, right?
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know how that works out. But I would say
depends. Yeah.
I would say that maybe Ongaro's getting a good salary now. I don't think he was getting the best salary before, from what I heard, and that was one of his reasons why he wanted to. We was hearing rumors of him possibly leaving AE this year. I would say there's maybe 3, maybe 5 guys that are making really good, decent money, like 100,000 plus a year, and then there's some, they're probably out there. I would say on average, a top driver can be making anywhere from $5,000 a month to $12,000 a month.
Yeah, I think 12,000 is
salary.
Yeah, and that's
contingency.
Yeah, and that's counting everything. So a lot of these drivers don't make that from one. Like I think
a combination of their sponsors.
Yeah, so basically, like someone like let's take an example of like Dakota Fend. He's probably getting paid anywhere between 500 and 1,500 from Beach RC because he runs the Ultimate engines, or Ultimate, whichever pays his salary.
Probably 500 to 1,000.
Really? He made
maybe a little bit more,
from Reds.
but he probably has a good contingency program.
Yeah, but he made 1,500 from Reds, I heard.
Okay, so yeah, we have to make more than that, innit?
yeah. So, and then he probably gets anywhere between like $3,000 to $5,000 from TLR. Then
so Barry Baker said he could, if he went somewhere else, he'd make a lot more money. So
yeah, that's why I'd expect you to be closer to 3,000 than 5,000, and then he probably makes. And obviously, I'm not saying this is like what Dakota actually makes. I'm saying like a driver like Dakota with the sponsors he has could make something like this, and then he probably makes like $1,000 from G Concepts, maybe 1,500, depending of if he has a good deal with them. So overall, he makes from those 3 main sponsors, he makes most likely anything between $6,000 to $10,000 a month.
And then
from those 3, so, and then on top of that, he has his like Trinity sponsorship. Maybe he gets 500, maybe he gets 750 a month. Then he has his spectrum of whatever.
Everything you see on every sticker you see on this guy's car, usually, except that they're running some friend sticker, get some sort of either they're getting a low salary, maybe $100 a month, it may be up to. I bet every sticker, it depends. Look at the biggest sticker on there. Usually is the one who's paying the most. Not necessarily. But chassis, they don't get all paid all the salary from chassis. It's split up between chassis, motors, engines, tires, servers, batteries, radios, some of them. That's why I've seen a lot of guys running Fly Sky. We talked about this. Is because they're paying pretty good. But I would say that the people making 10,000 plus in RC a month are very few and far between.
Yeah, I think I'd say David, before he left Mayako, I'd say I don't know exactly what he made from like all of his sponsors, but from the numbers I've heard, it's most likely like between 10 and 15. Mayfield's he said, then Fenn could be like, because he's at such a high level right now. Then Ongaro.
Yeah, but it's also corporate and they don't like to pay. Especially if something like that. Nobody knows, and not everybody's getting the same amount. I think it's how good you do and how good you can negotiate. But
I think because from what I heard, I think, and this is pure speculation, and this is the birdies who's told me this, but from what I'm hearing, Ronefalk makes almost double as Ongaro from Matrix.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. I don't know, but from what I heard, Ronefalk makes double from Matrix to compare to
okay. All right.
And I know Ronafog is good at negotiating because he's a professional, you know.
Mm-hmm. One more question from the last question from Instagram. Gonna be really quick. Who would win the RC from DT RC Racing? Who would win if there was an RC version of the head-to-head race of champions and Cup of Nations? I think so it's like two cars racing each other in the track. Like you ever seen that? They do
race of champions. I'd like to see RC of Nations. That'd be really cool. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's two cars side by side racing.
I don't know.
That would take a lot of arguing and stuff that we don't have. We're gonna have to leave it for another day.
Yeah, I think it could be a cool format. Add some sort of like big RC fair or something to have like a small track. But I'd have it rather that they race on the same track. It could be a narrow track, but they race on the same track against each other. Because in RC, it doesn't matter if they hit each other.
Okay,
that's why in full scale they race on different tracks.
All right. Up next, we'll have to tackle that another day because we have to get through these questions. We're running out of time here. Roach RC in our Discord. Do you think the vintage or vintage style buggy racing could become a more popular class for 10 scale, like full scale RC racing? I asked this because Adam Drake is putting on a gas truck national at HRCR next year in July, and some of the classes include the vintage brushed and rear motor buggy. I see that they're doing that gas truck nationals. It's not like a raw affiliated race at HRCR. I think vintage is going to stay vintage. It's going to be very niche. They have many vintage races. They do it. I know in England they do like vintage racing as well. With lots of re-releases of the cars that are coming out, so there's more parts out there. But I just think it's just going to be another niche. Like I don't think we're going to see a boom of gas trucks. Even though I'm building an Ignite RC gas truck and they're very good, I'm thinking you're going to see a boom of that because it's just something that's not raced at a local club all the time or a local club race. It's always going to be what's the latest and greatest. Vintage is nice.
I have to say,
cool, but I don't think it's going to be huge.
I have to say, I disagree. I think there is quite a crazy amount of vintage out there. I don't think it will be like a class that, people are going to be racing. Like, I don't think anyone will fly over to race a vintage class. But I do think there are enough people with rear motor cars, especially with these new re-releases, that we're going to have some smaller events, more like these fun style events that a lot of people are holding. Yeah, they're going to have it.
All right, I can agree with that. So we have a couple of YouTube questions. The one says, Blue Groove Motorsports, the closing of more and more racetracks and ways to keep them going. Get more people.
Yeah,
we're putting the cart before the horse. You can have 20 racetracks split between 100 people. They're going to close. You need more people. Racetracks, and he's asked, then again, the racetracks and legal liability insurance for racetracks. What can we do to keep the sport going? Well, join your local federation.
Yeah,
federation. Raw, encourage your members to have Raw memberships. Go join Raw. They have a liability insurance that you can have. That's what you can do because he's American. Kevin Mendez, what's up, Kevin Mendez? Can you talk about silly season? We did that already. SIC, the SIC race isn't until I'll be there. He's now on SRX. He wants to know the SRX team looking mighty feisty, strong in 2024. I still think that the best people on SRX are Juan Carlos Canas and Elliot Boots.
Yeah.
And I think if they come over to America, they'll be the best Americans. Brandon Rose will be good. Joe Bornhuss will always be in the mains. We'll see what Camden Lime and Spencer Heckert does, but we'll see. Camden Lime can be good. He had a good year. Heckert is good when he wants to be. He can get some good results. And he says, lastly, thoughts on this weekend's USA fuel manufacturers race? Mayfield for the W. Yeah, it was good. Track looked really gnarly. And I heard some people say it's really hard. They had some really big windstorms that blew everything away. I will say this. That track looked super gnarly. It looked very hard. Too, I would have flipped 1,000 times. Mayfield took the sweep. I think Ryan Lutz was there. Camden Lime was there. Spencer Heckert was there.
Paridis won.
Huh?
Pavides
Yeah,
was
but
over.
so in previous years, Tim's that race has had a very decent. You know, remember that time was at SCRC and Tasman was there and all that type of stuff. It's the end of the year. I think it was also earlier in the year. It was in October.
Oh yeah, it was way
in previous
earlier,
years. I think the turnout was a little bit light on the pro side of things, so that hurt it.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I mean, I think Ryan Lotz was probably his biggest competition there, and I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it was very laid back race. I felt.
Yes.
It wasn't. I think as serious as it was before years before. Even Tim, he kind of said that he was giving out a lot of money prizes and whatever, and it was more so just to end the year on a high. For everyone.
It looked like a fun race. Mayfield won all 3 classes. It's similar like the Fall Brawl. The Fall Brawl that I attended had a lot of entries, local and regional guys, and people coming from the Northeast. But the only real top pros there were Ryan Lutz and Cole Ogden, like top pros, and Lutz just killed everybody. I honestly I was traveling, so I didn't get to watch much of it. So I watched a little bit of the coverage. That's about it. But I think it needs to go back to the time that it was, and I think Tim would agree because it's like we're getting to the end of the season, man.
Yeah,
we're getting to the end of the season.
Yeah.
So
and also the timing was bad because he was on top of the 12 scale world.
I mean, that doesn't matter. Not the guys that ran 12 scale, they weren't going there. But I think people just
but I mean like the people who be following the race, because I think people rather watch a world championship, especially like when you are there.
I think all for it, people watch it all for it.
Really?
I just think, I just think it's at the end of a long season, lots of races, and
could be.
And Fall Brawl was like the official end of the year race, right? And that wasn't well attended this year. And usually it doesn't get a whole bunch of pros, but it used to get like a Bornhorst or Cole Ogden kind of line.
It did get more and more pros, but then the last 2 years there was like Rivkin and Fend.
Well, because it was raining out.
Yeah, it was completely rained out. So I think then all pros was kind of like,
but
why even go?
The US Open looked like it was fun. They, like I said, they had a big windstorm. It took like people's tents got destroyed and everything. That track looked freaking hard. That's all I'm gonna say. That track looked hard, but it looked cool. And congratulations to Mayfield on the sweep. That track was very hard. I bet you it challenged him. It seemed to have challenged everybody. I talked to a few people that went there and they're like, that track was hard. It was challenging.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for our questions. We greatly appreciate this. I know we didn't get to all of them, but we tried to get to as many as possible. I think now we're going to go on to our quick recaps of US Dawn, Florida Carpet Championships, and Fall Brawl. And then I think that's going to be it for that today. And that is brought to you by Techno RC. Thank you, Techno, for all the continued support.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance 8-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
And thank you, Techno RC, for all their continued support. So they just released their new 1/10 scale monster truck version of the 1/8 that I have finished. So check them out at technorc.com. Tell them Lefty sent you. And we do have some coupons to give away for them next week on our Christmas show, or whenever you listen to this on our Christmas show. I'm not sure when this podcast is coming out. All right, Max. So I was away. This happened. Dude, let's talk about Dawn. EOS Dawn real quick, because I don't really know much about it.
It was not in Dawn. It was in Hanmunden.
Oh, no wonder I'm looking up the wrongest thing. Yeah, you know why? Because I'm sorry. I got EOS Dawn 2024 because I know they had so many entries.
That was the race at the...
I apologize. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but I can start. So actually, we should start with the Florida Carpet Championship.
Okay, let's start with
that. That was the weekend before.
This was the weekend before. So I was fortunate enough to attend the Florida RC Championships in Beachline RC Raceway. This is my second time now going to this event. I went last year where I just did interviews. This year I did commentary. It was me, Danny Paz, as well as Relance went and Gene Schrout went. Patrick didn't go this year. He had to go do another race or something. So this racer was absolutely stacked with European drivers. So Bruno Coelho, last year was stacked too, but this year we had Bruno Coelho, Ronald making his debut with the X-Ray cars, Orlowski, Jorn Newman, Miko Widmeyer, Kobovic, right? And then on the American side, we had it kind of lacked this year. No Cavallari. I was shocked at that. No Mayfield, right? He wasn't there. He didn't come the year I was there either. No Tessman. Was Tessman there?
I can't remember, but I think
no. Tessman was at Masters of Dirt and at AMS. That's I got confused. No Tessman. I think Tessman knew he wasn't coming. No Cav, no Mayfield, no like Render Connects. I tell you what, I was a bit disappointed with this race because it lacked a lot of the top stock drivers too. In that sense,
I don't.
This
really
year didn't have as
understand.
many stock drivers.
Yeah.
Last year we had like, if I remember correctly, we had Laverier, we had quite a few. We had quite a few stock drivers, and this year the stock field was not as deep as it was last year, but the pro field, modified field, was fairly deep. Like the fast guys are made. Who was there? Brock was there. Ben was there. Rivkin was there. Setzer was fast. All these guys were there. And of course, the one guy who ran 21.5, Raging Bull White, that was me. So I got to race at this race. And that actually happened because we was sitting off at dinner. Me, myself, Gene, Danny, and my buddy Dalton Hashberg and his father, they had come up to watch. And Dalton's like, you need to race. You need to race. I said, dude, I'm not racing. He goes, look, I will set up a 21.5 buggy for you, and you can race it at this race. And I was just like, all right, I said, all right, deal. If whatchamacallit says I can do it, if Chavez says I can do it, I'll do it. And he goes, I'm going to tell Chavez, put you in there and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right. So if he says yes, I'll do it. And so Chavez messaged me a few weeks later and goes, I heard you want to race 21.5. I said, I'll race it if you're cool with it. Like, I know I'm there to do a job. If you're fine with me racing it, I will race it. And he goes, yeah, man, let's do it. So I was nervous. I was super nervous. But I think this race also was a day long, I think, this year. So I think that kind of hurt it a little bit. It started on Tuesday, if I remember correctly. Let me check the... See, I'm telling you, like, I forget things so much now because I everything's like a blur for me. But anyway, this race has become, in my opinion, the unofficial carpet world championships because the amount of Europeans that come to this race and whatnot. Now, last year the track was really lots of jumps, big jumps, and lots of like elevation and all that stuff. But this year, I want to say it was more like a European style track. Let us know what you think. Yeah. We're going to play this video. And it's A1.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably more European style in the terms of the jumps and so on. Because it was more corner speed than 90 jump. It wasn't as, rhythm section and flowing as usually the American tracks are. But I do have to say, no matter the year, this race has always had one of the most coolest layouts I've seen on carpet for 10 scale. I absolutely like when I look at this race, I'm like, hey, I kind of want to go race 10 scale on carpet, which
I love
great,
it.
But
I love 10 scale on carpet.
Yeah.
So I just want to hit on a few things. This was a great race. Like I said, we see Fenn, there's Coelho, Brock, Rivkin. Setzer was fast, but I'm going to be honest, the Europeans were just fast at this race. Oh, yeah. What am I saying?
You said
I
Cavalier
forgot he was
wasn't
there. No, sorry. AMS. See, these races are bleeding into each other.
Yeah. He wasn't at AMS, but of course he's running 10 scale.
Yeah, he was
so
running.
I think I'd say because I was thinking like almost every single top modified guy was here,
Besides
for
Mayfield and
Riverside.
Tasman.
Yeah, and Tom from R1.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't he quite good these days still?
No, Chase Lemieux either. I was shocked that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it was a few people. The stock class was lacking a lot of the top stock guys, I would say.
I wonder if it's because it's
already.
a flyover race for the Midwest guys. Because isn't Tom from Midwest?
Yeah, but maybe just I think he's moved. He was moving. That's what it was.
Okay. So maybe it's just personal reasons, but
yeah
it could be that because this is a flyover race from those guys at Midwest, and from what I've gathered, like 10 scale is probably the biggest in that region.
I do apologize. I had a complete and total brain fart about Cavallari. He was there. That's what I'm saying. Everything's starting to blur together with 5 weeks on the road.
Yeah.
Well, here we see Brock in A1. For me, it was exciting because one, I was getting to see Bruno Coelho race on carpet off it, which I've never seen. Jorn Newman as well. And obviously I got to see, so this was the second race. So I got to see David, who I haven't seen since Portugal. I got to see him run on carpet with his new rides at the first time as well. And then it was a lot of people there that came up. Maybe I don't think it was as many entries as it was last year. Maybe a slightly bit less. And I think that's because they added one. It seemed like they added a day.
They started on Wednesday.
Right.
I just checked, yeah.
Okay, so
but I don't know how it was last year. But they did open practice last year. I remember because I looked at the videos and it was just insane.
Did they do open? See, this is my brain is bad. I forget things.
This year, I don't think there was open practice.
No, it was control practice.
Yeah, but year before there was open practice, and that was like the line. I remember Martin Bayer taking a video of the line, and it was insane. So
okay. Well, that will also deter people from coming, but I think they just wanted to be a little bit more structured. So Wednesday was like they do a good job. Nobody sees this track until like they reveal it. Obviously, I got to see it. I was in there. We were setting up, right? And this year the color scheme was black and gray. So last year everything was turquoise and black, right? So they picked up, and that's like a silver. They wanted the Raiders gray. So I liked it when I stepped on it. I was like, oh man, I like this track. I love that section of the track, and I love this infield section so much. It was like touring car almost, like going through here.
Yeah,
it was so nice. And then this big jump was, if you just didn't line up properly, it was hard.
Yeah.
Chase from Racecraft coming over. He was doing interviews. Him and Cody Thompson came. Them guys were hilarious. Chase was hilarious on the mic doing interviews. And obviously we were doing our coverage with Elite RC Productions, and Lance was the RD. So this is the first race last year that I got to really meet Lance, and not meet him, but see him outside of a RD aspect and see how much fun it was to hang out with him. Anyway, like I said,
but I like if like Karup and other top Europeans like the Hall brothers are watching this. Like,
they came last year.
Go to this. Yeah, please go.
Hall came last year.
Yeah, they came last year, but I think I spoke with Jona and he was like really, bummed that he couldn't go this year because he absolutely loved it the year before. So I think this is the race where all like this should become like the unofficial carpet worlds, kind of like the Neo 10.
Jona made the A main last year too.
Oh, Jona is fast. Like Jona is, I'd say. He's the third or fourth fastest, 10 scale driver in Europe,
So there's Runner Falcon, his new ride. It was weird seeing Runner Falcon, his X-ray stuff.
I have to say one thing, because I don't know if you guys have this, but Max Gottschall has almost the exact same paint job as David. But you could always tell them apart because Gottschall has that X-ray sticker on his car. But now, how the fuck are you gonna tell Max Gottschall and David Ronefalk apart on the track if they happen to be on the same heat?
Oh my gosh! Hey, so anyway, That was a big topic there because him and Bayer run stock with that new Acceleram ESC, and the people from Acceleram were actually there.
Yeah, they're
the whole family was there.
Yeah, it's like a family business, I believe.
So I would just wanted to say that this race was well organized. We had everything going. It was great to see a lot of people that I had met the year before, as well at this race. I was really happy to race. I was so nervous when I got up there to race the first thing, and then after the first race, I was like, man, I forgot how much fun it is to race. Like I never came off that driver's stand like upset. I really ever do. Even when I did race, I was just smiling from cheek to cheek. I was even happy to be out there turn marshalling, and I got progressively better. I think I ended up like starting second in the B, and it was fun. Like waiting in line to go up the race, talking to this guy Sticks, who is an English guy. He's the only guy there for Stick Radio. I think his name Jonathan Bailey. I think his name is, and then talking to like Brian Shoemate and other people that were in there. Now, obviously, I didn't make the A main. I did have some glory in my single B main. I got up to second. And then I made a mistake on the infield, and I just had a horrible lap or two. And of course, Lance was making me nervous by, just saying my name. But dude, I would say this. I absolutely forgot how much fun it is to hold a transmitter, go up there and compete. And I love carpet. I liked it when I left the UK, and I love it even more now. I don't care what anybody says. But enough about me. I didn't make the A main. Chase made it. He decided to run out of nowhere, and he ran 21.5. And he made it, but he races a lot more than me. And that was the first time I've raced in 5 years.
Yeah.
So, and the first time I've even raced carpet since like 2014. So I didn't have no expectations. I was joking like 21.5 carpet champion her. No way, I wasn't on those guys' level, but it was fun. It was so much fun. I had a blast. So real quick, Martin Bayer and Matt Goxel were the toasted ton in stock. Them cars were so fast. People were complaining about Bayer running stock on the internet. I'm like, stock is another class, like E-Truggy, E-Buggy, or whatchamacallit. It's not a level class. I think the only one to take any victory from was Stackowitz, Jeff Stacks, and at the event his interview goes, I did this one for America, had to get something. But Max Goxel and Bayer killed it in the stock class. Bayer won both classes, Goxel second. They were fast. They were super fast. And what I like about this race is they have a Super Bowl as well for the mod class. But like a Super Bowl where you go there, you do 5-lap warm-up, then you have 5 laps to do your fastest race. And I'm telling you, like everybody goes quiet.
Yeah.
Sitting, you're just watching it. And I'm there like watching it because Lance is calling that, and I'm watching it. And Orlowski obviously started on pole, and I believe Coelho started on pole as well in four-wheel drive. Coelho was just fast in four-wheel drive. But to go out there and watch these guys run at the utmost of the ability alone on the track is amazing.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this is that we'll see that we saw that later on. So Orlowski won two-wheel drive. I think he went 1-1.
Let me check.
Yeah, I think he went 1-1. Let's go. I will tell you right now.
So many.
So much racing. Yeah, Orlowski went 1-1 and done. Coelho came second. Brock Champlin third. Dakota Fenn fourth. Spencer Rifkin fifth. Ronafalk was in sixth. Ronafalk like had a 5, a 9, and a 6. So two-wheel drive, he did pretty good in four-wheel drive, if I remember correctly. Jorn Newman in 7th, Cavallari 8th, Kobovic 9th, and Brandon Foote. Brandon Foote was your bumper opera, and he drove very well. He drove very well at this race last year, and so
in four-wheel drive, I have the results up. So Bruno went 1-1, same as Michael in two-wheel drive, but now it was Orlowski in second, and then Champlin in third. Ronafalk actually, he made a third and the 7, but then because Champlin won the last main, he just got David, so he was in third. But David TQ'd round 1, I believe, and he was starting down in 5th, but he was really fast. But a little bit surprising, but Fend all the way down in 5th in Fall Drive.
Yeah, Fen was okay. He kind of figured it out a little bit, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't that. I'll tell you where Fen. I watched Fen make the same mistake in two finals. Over that big jump, he jumped to the inside twice. The same way, twice. He may have done it 3 times and went way back. Lee Setzer was super impressive as well. He was fast. He was good. Brandon Foot obviously was good.
Yeah, Sontag was in Fall Drive. Sontag was 6th, Cavalier 7th, Rivkin 8th, then Setzer and Neumann the last one. But yeah, Setzer making the main. I think that's pretty solid from him in this crowd. But yeah, I think I'd have to say like Rivkin has had quite an underwhelming year this year.
Ooh boy.
Would you say so? I just came up when I was looking at the results, and you can see like Cavalieri in front of Rivkin.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, like I can't remember like Rivkin being that good this year. He's won, I think.
He was top 5. He's a top 5 driver this year.
He's still like he's probably still the best at AE from America. Like, but I think you'd expect him to like
be in the hunt for stuff like this.
Yeah. And even in 8 scale, I can't remember a big.
Well, he won Masters of that 4-wheel drive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's had good 10 scale wins here and there. But when you look at the Worlds, like, I don't know.
In the end, it came down to Orlowski won 2-wheel drive and Bruno won 4-wheel drive, and it was a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But I loved how they did the tiebreaker. It wasn't about times or nothing like that. They both went out and did a super pull run. So they did.
That's how they did the tiebreaker.
Yep.
I missed that one. Yeah.
So what they did was they same rules as Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I think you might have had 5 laps, or you might have had 3, whatever. But they had to go out there, and each guy had to do it. So each guy had to do 2-wheel drive, and dude, you could fucking hear a pin drop. Like that's how quiet people. Like the track got packed. Everybody's watching. Yeah. And then like after they did a good lap, after they did a good lap, people would clap. And like Orlowski, he killed it in 2-wheel drive, and then you could see Coelho was just pushing, and he would make a little mistake, and he'd try to come back. You think him, and he just ended up not working. And if I remember correctly, I believe, so Orlowski won both of those, and he ended up winning the Florida Carpet Championships again for the 2nd time in a row. Then he comes back like 3 weeks later and wins World Championship in 12 scale.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
and it was awesome to have a Super Pool tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, but I think there's no doubt that Michal Orlowski and Bruno Coelho are the 2 best carpet drivers in the world at this point. Would you disagree?
Dude,
with
Brock Champlin was probably really fast too, but he just made mistakes. Man, watching Coelho and watching Orlowski go at it, woof. It was amazing, man. I mean, I enjoyed it. I want to shout out to another young kid. He did very well. McCoy, I think he won the independent class. I think it was. Let me bring it up. So him and his dad and his mom, they have this thing called Bombshell Racing. They were sponsors of it. They make little things and t-shirts like retro, like these cool RC retro t-shirts. Not retro, but the Earn style. I got to meet them. There was a young lady who I met the year before, Jenny Roper, and she was there for her dad racing. She done really good. She made the A in 4-wheel drive. See, Beachline has a very good club scene too. So they have a lot of club drivers that come there. And man, it was just fun, man. It was a fun weekend. We enjoyed it was a fun week. We enjoyed ourselves. We were staying in the camper. And it was just a good weekend. I was fun to get racing. I want to say thank you to Dalton Hashberger and Chad Kaysen, who it was Chad's car. He let me use it. I did not break it at all. And Dalton was like, you need this and you need that. Even BT came up to me and is like, Lefty, come here, let me see your car. It was just like, it looks so twitchy. And he goes, you need to dial some of your steering and stuff like this. And I was like, all right, Dalton, dial some of my steering. I was a professional driver. I just went up, came down, drove. My car was there every time. I went to drive, and then I went back. I did my turn marshal. I went back up to do the commentary, And yeah, man, I wanted to say thank you to those guys for having me there. I would like to see next year more stock guys because I do enjoy the stock class, and I want to see. The year before was very well stacked with stock, but probably just personal. Also, you had Cleveland coming up like 2 weeks later, so a lot of people went to that race. The Cleveland offered championships as well, so it was a lot of races. You had Mod 2 weeks prior to that. This race, AMS stuff like that. There was a lot going on, and man, it is the unofficial Carpet World Championships, and I think next year it's going to be even bigger. Like, I hope we see Yana, Kara. I want to see more. I want to see that your favorite Japanese driver go over there. I want to see Asians come over there, all that type of stuff in race. So I'm hoping that people do get over there. I know Danny Chavez, Robbie Michaels, TJ Bradley, they'll all be, Robbie's the owner of Beachline, and Chavez and TJ Bradley are the brains behind this. They take a lot of pride in this. They do it great. And I hope that they get more and more international drivers there because this is truly, if you're a carpet racer, and you like 10 scale, this is the race you want to go to at some point in your life. Yeah. And I had a blast. Thank you to everybody that we just clicked. Like you just get to see people, you have fun. And shout out to all the young racers too, because there's a good bit of young racers up there racing. Like I said, this is young man McCoy. He did pretty well. I believe he won one class. They have a concourse class. Everything, man. It's great. It's great. Shout out to Bombshell Racing and all those lot too. All right. I know we don't have much time, Max, so we got to go on EOS Dawn real quick. It's not EOS Dawn.
Yeah.
What is it again?
EOS Han Munden. So I have the results in the notes you can see. But basically what happened was the following weekend from this race. And yeah, the top three were the exact same guys as were at the Florida Carpet Championships, except New Americans in between. And actually, it was the exactly same top through too. So in tool drive was Orlowski Coelho, and Fall drive was Coelho Orlowski, and Ronnie Falk was the third man in the podium in both classes. So the mains were really exciting, though. I think like in tool drive, Orlowski did it in two, if I'm not mistaken. But in Fall drive, well, actually, in both classes, the winner did it in two, but it was still really tight. Like the first main, Ronnie Falk led, then Coelho led, then Orlowski led, then Ronnie Falk led again, and then in the end, Coelho won it. But I think it was quite clear that Coelho and Orlowski were the most comfortable. But I do have to say, like, Ronnie Falk was surprisingly good. He was like very confident throughout the whole weekend, and he was wait.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to bring up some video of it. So just go ahead, keep talking.
Do we have something wrong here?
Why? What happened?
So Orlowski wasn't second in Fall drive. Have I screwed something up?
Ooh, you made a mistake.
Wrong? Did I make a mistake?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did make a mistake. So actually, it was not, in fact, Orlowski. I don't know why I thought Orlowski was second. Orlowski actually was fourth. So it was Ongaro who ended up third, and then Ronnie Falk was second in fourth.
Right, I forgot Ongaro went to this race.
Yeah, so actually this race was really packed. It had Ongaro, then all of the usual suspects from Europe, like Jona, Kobevic, and then like Northern Europeans like London, and then Paul's son, Elias Johansson. Then Kilic was here with Maya. And one surprise name I think people missed was Canas was here.
But he was even there.
He was there, and he raced both classes. But I do have to say that in tool drive, he won the D main. Okay? And in Fall drive, he finished 29th. So that's...
Well, he does not race this at all.
He does not race, but I still do have to say it was a little bit of a disappointment because, I mean, he's a talented guy. Maybe he's his driving style definitely isn't the best for carpet. But I do think I hope he's gonna race more, maybe practice more 10 scale and get into it because Ongaro was competitive the whole weekend. He finished. Did I have the tool drive results wrong as well? What is okay? I have messed up the notes. I think I mixed up like the top two because both of those results I just told you were wrong. Okay, from the top three. So let me read out the full results. This is tool drive, okay? Tool drive was Orlowski, Kobovic, and then Coelho and Ronefog. Then fifth was Martin, sixth was Tommy Hall. Then the rest of the main was really Swedish biased. So there was Johansson, Elias Johansson in seventh, Jessica Paulson in eighth, Ongaro in ninth, and Alexander Landon in 10th. Yuna made B, Q, and Kerup was second in the B. So not that good of a day for those two. And then Fall Drive, it was Orlowski in fourth, as I said before, but then top three was Coelho, Ronefog, Ongaro. And then Jona was sixth. Oh, sorry, Kerup fifth, Jona sixth, Zalewski, another Polish young driver, in seventh. Then Tommy Hall eighth, Alexander Landon ninth, and Daniel Kobovic 10th.
Okay.
So yeah,
we're actually watching right now. If you're watching this online, we are watching leg one of two-wheel drive, brought to you by Raceway One. Sorry.
Raceway One.
And you know who built this track was Powell and them guys from Poland.
Yeah, Pavel is right now doing, I think, all of the EOS layouts.
It's very nice. That goes really slow right there too. Really slow in that section. Not as fast as Carpet Champs was.
No, and I think that's the European style. So the tracks in general are not as like flowing. It's much more, much more like I'd say technical maybe, but it's not. It doesn't have that sort of rhythm sections. And that's
that's Orlowski and Ronefog.
Yeah, that's Orlowski and Ronefog. I think they're fighting for first, but yeah, the European layouts usually are much more technical. I think the layouts that Pavel does are in general more flowing, more of the American style. Oh, that was a nice pass. I think that was Ronefog going through.
That was.
But the European carpet they use, the EOS carpet, it's much thicker than the American carpet. So the cars sort of, they skate around a bit more. You can't really like go, it doesn't give you the same corner speed. It scrubs speed much more easy. So you need to be more, careful with it. And then you have quite a bit of drive still. So it's a little bit different style of driving, but yeah.
Awesome. All right. So congratulations. So Orlowski won, just so I know, clear. He won four-wheel drive.
Orlowski won two-wheel drive with Kobovic in second, and then Coelho in third.
Okay.
But then four-wheel drive was Coelho, Ronefog, and then Ongaro in third.
Awesome. And also, the one American that made the trip over there, Joey Fisher, went 13.5 and is in love with 13.5 instead of 17.5 now.
Yeah, I told him. Wasn't it me who said in the podcast last time round that you Americans should run 13.5, so then there's no issues with that. Now he loves 13.5. So, and he's like the OG. Like he was on the podcast like preaching that
Pinion preacher.
He's the pink pinion preacher. And even this guy is like, hey, we're about to do something about spec.
Yep, absolutely. All right. One more race to talk about. While I'm bringing that up, I just wanted to say they also had Scottish race in Cleveland, which has been running for 30-something years. He's not had it for 30 years, but he's the one who organizes now and does the RD and all that stuff. It's the Cleveland U.S. Indoor Championships. They have the on-road version of it 1 week prior. Then they do the off-road version next. It's inside of a hotel. So Kevin Hebert won touring car, and Sam Isaacs won 12 scale, and a lot of these guys who had the 12 scale worlds were also at this race.
Yeah,
and then and then in carpet was the following weekend, and I have to give big props because this guy and his family put in a lot of work, and that's the Kaufmans. Eric Kaufman won his first big race, man, and it was great to see that picture of his mom. I think everybody hugging him. They put a lot of work in. He's good. He's a good driver. He runs for TLR, and I was so happy to see him in that race. He won 2-wheel drive, and
Cavallari
won 4-wheel drive, and I got to meet Heber at 12 scale worlds. He didn't have the best 12 scale worlds, so he didn't. And Sam Isaacs, he was there, and also we did briefly talk about it, but the US Open was the other big race that happened this past weekend. They had coverage from Mod. It was good. It was a gnarly looking track. Like I said, it was more of a relaxed fundraiser. I've been watching a lot of racecrafts videos because they did a lot of videos from there. They're crazy, like skateboard punk videos. And I talked to various people there from that race, and they thought, the first thing they said, that track was hard and the weather was a little bit brutal with the wind, but we had a blast. And Mayfield won it. He swept that, as we said earlier. So congratulations to him. Great for him going out on a high at the end of the year. And then the second to last race that I went to this year was Fall Brawl. So this was the 22nd iteration of Fall Brawl. It has been around now for 22 years. This is the first time it has been under our roof. We went up to this track in Lake Waccamaw back in August for the RC Pro-Am race. And so they were having it up here. Now this track was very weird. So we got up there. We got up there on like the Wednesday, I want to say, maybe Tuesday, late Tuesday. No, we got up there about Tuesday from Lance's, and it was very cool. And for me, it was cold, and the track was super. They had just finishing up the track. So it was super. What's the word? It was cold. It was very dry. That's the word I was looking for. It was not, like it wasn't. When we went up there in August, it was very hot and humid, right? So the dirt had a lot of moisture in it. So the weather, I'm trying to find it on. Why can't I find the results on these things nowadays? That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Lutz won everything.
yeah, Lutz won everything. But when I got up there, it was open practice. So I had a little. So when we got up there, they had just finished the track. I want to show pictures of the track. That's what I want to do, or video of the track. So Thursday and Friday, dude, this track was dry and very slippery. You know what I mean? It was super, like, it was staying together. So when we went up there for Pro-Am, it started to fall apart because it got humid and it was moist, right? But for this race, the first day I drove on my Alka for the first time. I drove my buddy Blake's car, and then I drove his. He also works on the Wilson Colward's X-Ray. Dude, it was so hard to get. This track was hard. It had like 2 jumps on the very end. I couldn't even do them, and there was no traction, right? Because the track was like, it had that fine dust on it, and it was hard because it was dry, right? I mean, I was like, I want some crime fighters or something just to cut through the dirt and dust like that. Something. Anyway, I did get to drive on it. I look like a squid out there trying to drive around. I'm going to bring up a video of it here in a second. And then,
but I saw some pictures that there was like fog. It was like it was covered, but the fog was like so low that he was inside. The
dude.
covering.
So it's like it was cold Friday, cold Thursday, cold Friday. Woke up Saturday morning, dude, and it was humid, and there was a layer of fog all over the area. You couldn't even see. Dude, when I went inside that track Saturday morning, you couldn't even see over her barely. I had no idea how drivers were driving their cars. Now on the camera, it looked better, but here is the middle of the intermediate Nitro Buggy A final. Dude, this jump was so hard, and this is now the track's getting blown out, right? Because it's got moisture in it. And it's all loomy out here. Dude, this jump was hard too. This jump was on an angle. So
Who
that
made
jump
the
was on it.
layout?
Brian Burnett made it. Look, it got so rough through her, but they did fix the track every night.
Wow, that's crazy. It looks nice though. The layout.
The
looks
layout
pretty
was
cool,
nice. It was hard though. That section was easy to do, but like the surface was very tricky for me. But I tell you what, dude, the racing was awesome. Like I lost my voice. My buddy Arthur was racing, like Sportsman E-Truggy, and he won that shit on the fucking very last corner with 2 feet to go. Like he battled with this guy to the very end, and it was just amazing. Like I saw some amazing battles up here. It was a lot of entrants here. People were having fun. We had a lot of people.
How many people was there?
I want to say 200 and something
entries.
Yeah, no, it was 440 entries.
Well, that's a lot. That's pretty good. I think this could be one of those future like good like races. You know, I remember Fall Brawl. Like I was thinking, oh, I should go to that race, but I went to Springs thing and I really liked it there. But
this is a big difference from what Fall Brawl used to be. Fall Brawl used to be high traction, attracting, used to get rough. This is completely different. We had a big contingent of Northeast guys come down. I met a lot of guys and listened to the podcast. Omar O, Corey Williams, Dennis Brew was there. And it was just, dude, you had guys bumping up from like C mains to A mains, D mains to A mains. It was good. Like I said, Ryan Lutz and Co Ogden were the only top pros there. Ryan Lutz was absolutely killing it. But it was good freaking racing, dude. It was awesome to watch. It was good racing on a regional level. And we just had fun, man. You know how many people came up and gave the podcast some love and everything that we're doing on the coverage. And like I said, a whole bunch of Northeast guys. There must have been about 35, 40 Northeast guys came down. Because this is the last guaranteed race of the year for 8 scale. And as the track gets rough, some people love it, some people don't. I'm not saying that every track has to be high grip and stuff like that, but it's okay to have rough tracks. I want to say this is like a Silver State, but with different color dirt.
Yeah, is the dirt just so like fragile or like
it's not got that much clay in it?
Okay, yeah, that's what I think, because like for example, something like PNB, it's like very sticky, you know, red.
Not this. Well, this dirt is sticky when it gets wet, like in the room.
Yeah, but it's not like it doesn't stay together, you know.
No, and it did stay together when it was dry.
Yeah.
And then once the humidity got in the air, it was humid, and then it just stayed humid, like a sponge. It sucked in all that moisture and didn't stop. And you know what though? It made for dude. It was some good racing. Like I was watching this, and I think I was freaking out on almost every class I was racing, watching this.
Yeah.
It was good, man. This is
crazy
just another
how blown out it's here.
I know. You gotta go Greg Degani style, put Crime Fighters on or something big like that, and just stay in the loam.
Yeah.
Lutz was killing it though. His car looked great. He did a good job.
No,
it was
Jojo loves conditions like this, and like the way Lutz drives is he keeps it pinned. He likes to drive on the loam, you know.
Speaking of her, he is right here. Him and Co Ogden were having a good battle at first. And then yeah, it was good, man. I enjoyed it. Lutz's car looked great out there.
Oh,
Co Ogden had flame outs. He had some flame outs. This jump was so big on the back, dude. It was like full send, and it's so far away. And there's 2 hip jumps on the corner, so hard. I could barely do them.
Yeah.
But you know what's good is that people are getting so used to is that this coverage. Oh, your camera died. We had a line. We do these headshots, and people were lining up to get headshots.
Yeah,
because they know. All right. So I just wanted to say thank you. Damn. Yeah, Jeremy Talent was just flying. He was a good turn marshal. Him and his dad are the guys that built the driver stand. Lucas, Lauren, and Brent, and them guys really busted their ass fixing this track every night.
Yeah.
And they did. I think people had a lot of fun, and I think this event's gonna grow bigger. Here's JQ popping in, probably telling us to get off her in a bit. You know, Venus isn't here. We should bring him in here and talk to him. We're gonna do our best of. Oh no, he's gone now. We gotta get off her soon because he's gonna be in her very shortly. Fall Brawl was good, man. Second to last race for me. Thank you for everybody that came up and showed me some love. Showed us some love. We greatly appreciate it. He says I have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think we can do the best of with JQ on the Christmas pod, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You can try to remember 2023, all of the things of 2023.
Yeah,
he's always so positive, so maybe he'll be good for the disappointments of 2023 part.
Yeah. Before I wrap it up here, though, I just wanted to say thank you for Brent and everybody for having us at Fall Brawl. Thank you to everybody that came up and showed us some love. I got this from Jeremy Whiting of JW Head Heaters. This is a head warmer. It doesn't have the element in there. He just came up and dropped it over. Here's a gift for you, and it's a head warmer. It doesn't have the element. It's just you put it on there, to, like if you're gonna break your car in or something. And there's a No Name RC podcast logo on it. It's pretty cool. He said when he's waiting for some elements, he'll get me one. And Dennis Rue gave me one of his Nitro Caddy hats, but I don't have it. Met a whole bunch of new people from the south, from the northeast. We had a blast. We had fun. We enjoyed it, and there was some great racing. So 5 weeks in America. I had fun at each event. It was great racing at each event. Thank you to everybody that I met out there. I greatly appreciate all the support and all that you did for us helping us get up there. I'm looking forward to next year. I know for sure January's book, Piece of the East, SIC, and then of course FRCC. After that, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think from March on, I'm gonna be very busy, but I'll also be busy doing this. And I think that wrapped it up. 17 events for 2023, Max. That was pretty good.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And yeah, we was gonna do the best of and stuff like that. And I did have a rant, Max, but that's gonna have to hold off because I take bribes now, by the way. Oh yeah.
You forgot.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that.
If you want NNRC to do positive posting for you, you can send the money to Keaton's PayPal.
That's right. All that money I'm making through bribes, all that unicorn money. But we'll talk about that in 2023, or 2024, sorry, or whatever. Maybe we'll address it on the Christmas show. I don't know. Maybe I'll address it on the lefties.
Yeah, you lefty off the record.
Maybe a lefty off the record. Max, thank you for your time. Enjoy your Christmas holidays. I'll see you for Christmas. If you guys are listening to this for the last time, have a good Christmas and Happy New Year. Tune into our Christmas show. But just in case you are listening to this, thank you everybody for all the support in 2023 for the podcast. Me and Max, we greatly appreciate all the friends that we've made, all that good stuff, all the questions that you've asked, all the downloads and all that stuff. We're almost on our goal to 5,000 subs. We only need 370 something now. So 75 or 74. So please hit that notification. Yep. Hit that.
That's pretty good.
4,627. So please hit that notification button, that sub button, leave a comment, share all that good stuff. And all that good stuff. Have a good Christmas. Stay tuned for our Christmas show. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to the NNRC squad around the world. Thank you to the patrons, YouTube members of the NNRC who grow the extra mile. And thank you to these companies. Remember, showing the sponsors some love shows the podcast some love. We have links for all of these companies in the written description of this podcast. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sun Pedal USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC, Donathan RC, Racecraft USA, Florida Carpet Championships, SJ Racing, House of RC, RCGP, Elite RC Productions, Shout Out to our drivers, David Runnafall, Jared Debo, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, Matty G. Thank you all for the support. We love you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a safe up to go into Christmas and Happy New Year. Max and Lefty, we're out. As soon as I find that outro. Max, you got
we're
something
out
to
for
say
the whole year.
Everybody?
We're out for the whole year.
Say something nice before you leave, Max.
It's been a good year. Lots of nice things happened this year, and NNRC has like especially you know, like before you was just some random podcaster. You know, you had quite a lot of listeners, but now like everybody knows and loves you. You know.
Not everybody. I do have some people that hate me out there, but I love the RC community. They are my extended family. And people are mixed on you. They love you or they hate you. They love to hate you.
Yeah, but I think that's just the relationship people have with truth, you know. So I think I'm at that level, and yeah, that's how
Good
it
stuff.
is.
Good stuff. Thank you for all your time, man. I greatly appreciate it. Safe travels up to the north of Finland. Don't get attacked by bears, reindeer, or whales. And you know, I'll talk to you next week on the Christmas show. With that said, Max and Lefty, we are out. We'll see you later. Where's that outro? There we go. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, guys.